Hey guys, so I'm here showing you guys what is going to be my dream desktop. I'm going to be showing you guys the components that I've decided to use for this build. We're going to start off with this 1000 watt power supply by Corsair. Okay, that's what I'm going to be putting in to power everything up. And also for the motherboard, we have an ASUS ProArt. Okay, this is built specifically for creators in mind. All right, and this is a X670E. And it supports the AMD Ryzen processors. It does support PCIe 5.0, DDR5 RAM, and it has built-in Wi-Fi. All right, this is an amazing motherboard. I'm going to pair that up with this AMD Ryzen 9 series 7950X3D processor. Okay, this is a 16-core processor, 32 threads. It maxes out at 5.7 gigahertz when it's overclocked with a base of 4.2 gigahertz. All right. And for the RAM, I've chosen this 6000 megahertz DDR5 by Corsair. And it is a total of 64 gigabytes that I'm going to be using in this motherboard. I believe it supports up to 128. So we're going to start off here. This should be more than enough for what I'm going to be doing. And this is basically two 32 sticks in here. All right, and then for the solid state drives, we have two of them here. Each of them is 2 terabytes, so 4 terabytes in total. And these are by Crucial, and they are PCIe Gen 5 NVMe solid state drives. All right, and moving on here, this is basically the case that everything is going to go into. And this is made by Antec, and it is a Performance 1FT type of tower in here. All right, this has 3 fans here in the front. It has more fans there in the back. Now moving on to this right here, what I call the beast. This is a GeForce RTX 4080 Super. This is an ASUS Tough Gaming graphics card. As you can see here, this is 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I just can't wait to start using this guy right here. And lastly, we have an all-in-one cooler. This one is by Corsair. It has 3 fans, and it has an RGB light that comes with it as well. All right, so yeah, so this is pretty much everything here. I'm going to be installing Windows 11 Pro as well, and yeah, just can't wait to start putting it together, and you're about to watch me do that. All right, so the build is done. As you guys can see here, all of the different components are in there now. Got the graphics card, the processor, etc. Let me go over a few things that I would do differently if I were to do this again. The first thing would be to put in the solid state drives in first, and that is because if you try to do it after the fact, after we install this graphics card, it becomes a little bit difficult to try to get to these slots over here, the M2 slots. Okay, trying to remove this plate, it was kind of awkward, so I had to pull out the graphics card to work on that. There are two drives back there, as I showed you guys. There's another one down there, which is kind of being covered right now by the graphics card. So that's the first thing that I would have done differently there. The other thing that you will notice is the radiator here. I've switched this around over here so that these hoses are not too close to this exhaust fan over here. So I just basically switched this around. It just looks a little bit better this way. Also, this cable, I'm running it through the top instead of through the bottom. The other thing that I learned is has to do with this cable that came in with the box for this graphics card. This cable is pretty much trash. I couldn't really use it. I couldn't get this graphics card to boot properly because it wasn't getting enough power. So I had to go ahead and buy a different cable. And it's this cable right here that you can see here. Okay, this one is pretty stiff. It was difficult to work with. And like I said, it wasn't getting enough power. Even when I was plugging in the extra power, which this motherboard has over here, even with that additional power, it still wasn't working properly. When I replaced it with this other cable over here, then it worked without any issues. And here I'm also using this stand right here, which doubles as a screwdriver. This helps support the weight of this graphics card, which is nice, nice addition by ASUS there. The case has some very nice grommets that we can use to route all the cables, all the wires through. Over here has a couple more down in the bottom there, which makes the build look a lot cleaner. I already went ahead and installed Windows, updated the BIOS to the latest version, all the drivers, etc. One thing that I did notice is that this RAM, which is spec for 6,000 megahertz, was only running at 4,800. So I had to go into the BIOS and update it so that it would run at the specified speed. So this is the back side. So you can see there, this is what it looks like. All right. You saw me in the video, I put this in without connecting the cables first. So that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. It does make it a lot easier if you hook up all the cables before you put everything in there, before you slide the power supply in there. So it just makes your life a whole lot easier. And here we have the other side of the case. You can see all the wires running through there. There's plenty of Velcro in this case to allow you to do all of your cable management back here. So yeah, that's what it looks like right now. And the last thing that I'm going to do is to put all the panels in and give it a run.